Hello friends, greetings. Welcome to this plenary event, or Indigenous Voices. This Solstice Day, this day of cooperation around the world we've been celebrating. We've had amazing content so far from the Hollow Movement, from Earth Constitution, from the Evolutionary Leaders. Getting a Indigenous feedback. Voices. 1 second. Solstice Day, this day of cooperation. And we are so honoured to be here with some amazing Indigenous leaders and Indigenous voices for World Unity Week that have come to join us to share their wisdom and to impart their special messages on this important day at this important time as we celebrate the New Earth Rising here in World Unity Week 2023. I really am honoured to introduce Patricia Davis and brother Mindahi Bastida. Let me do a little introduction for Patricia and then we will do Mindahi, and then we will hear from them to begin their conversation on this special solstice plenary. Patricia Davis is an Indigenous elder of Choctaw and Dene Navajo lineage. Currently, she's on the International Council of First Nations, Commissioner of Ancient Knowledge and Languages as a speaker member. She is also an NGO representative of the World Yoga Community to the United Nations. She's an international educator who is initiated, trained, and experienced in facilitating in her authentic Indigenous ceremonial change process. She designed for wellness restoration. It is cross-cultural, intergenerational, inclusive, universal, and practical application, and is something that can be translated to any language. Patricia Davis is a whole systems designer specializing in peacemaking leadership, who has worked as an administrator in health and human services for 20 years. She has traveled to 10 countries by invitation to teach and facilitate this ICCP, that's the Indigenous Ceremonial Change Process, that reframes thinking into an affirmative thinking system for win-win constructive decisions and outcomes. The purpose is to reframe out of the inverse thinking system of win-lose, no one wins, destructive and death-producing decisions and outcomes. She teaches the monthly Zoom event Love Currency Embassy, a sacred circle ceremony for wellness restoration, sponsored by Sign Network. She has participated in many Zoom events, including the Global Convergence, Enlightening Our Way Together, and is a speaker at the Bretton Woods Global Summit. She's a speaker and member of World Indigenous Leaders Conference, Second Truth Commission on Decolonization, and is a speaker member of Sovereign Sisters, Skills Necessary for Caring for Ourselves and Our Communities. Patricia Davis, it's wonderful to have you with us here on this plenary event in World Unity Week. Welcome.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Sign Network. Thank you, the mighty network. I'm grateful. I'm pleased and happy to be visible and of this opportunity to speak from oral tradition.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. We also have, coming from Plum Village in France, who's made us very special effort to be with us, dear brother Mindahi Bastida. Mindahi Bastida is the director of the Original Caretakers Initiative at the Center for Earth Ethics. He serves as the general coordinator of the Otomi Nahahu Regional Council in Mexico, a caretaker of the philosophy and traditions of the Otomi people, and has been an Otomi ritual ceremony officer since 1988. Born in Tultepec, Mexico, he holds a doctorate of rural development from the Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana and is a president of the Mexico Council of Sustainable Development. Bastida Munoz is a member of the steering committee of the Indigenous Peoples Biocultural Climate Change Assessment Initiative and has served as a delegate to several commissions and summits on Indigenous rights and the environment. He's written extensively on the relationship between the state and Indigenous peoples, intercultural education, collective intellectual property rights, and associated traditional knowledge, among other topics. Brother, it's so wonderful Thank you for being with us and making the time to be with us back in World Unity Week, Mindahi.
Hati kara hatiku izengwa. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for the World Unity Week, and especially to Ben Bole for having me here together with other relatives, with other brothers and sisters. It's a great pleasure to be in this beautiful gathering, celebrating the solstice, celebrating life, celebrating joy, celebrating ourselves in this concept of human presence in the diversity.
Thank you, Mindahi, and it is very special indeed to be celebrating the solstice today here in World Unity Week, which itself is orientated around the solstice itself. This entire week, Patricia Ann Davis was first convened in 2020 with many organizations, including the Sign Network, to really celebrate many events around the solstice itself. But it is the solstice that is the heart and the center of World Unity Week. And that's why this plenary with Indigenous voices is such an important aspect of what we are celebrating and doing this week. We had the celebration of World Peace and Prayer Day for 2 days leading up to today with Chief Dwaine, with Chief Arvel Looking Horse and many other Indigenous voices that were coming to celebrate the special time of year. Of course, it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's winter here in the Southern Hemisphere. And here in the Southern Hemisphere, where 10% of the human family live, 90% of the human family live in the Northern Hemisphere, where it is the summer solstice, and here with the 10%, it is the winter solstice. But we'd love to hear from you, Patricia Ann Davis, about what is the significance of this seasonal event. It is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is the shortest day here in the South. And what does it mean to be at this time of transition, at this time of the turning of the seasons and the turning of the tide? There are some very interesting things happening on our world at this time with the raising of the frequency and the influx of connection and spiritual energy. We talk about a new earth that is rising. Of course, the earth itself is ancient, and yet there is a new invitation to a planetary civilization based upon spiritual values. And what you've been teaching for your whole life of the ceremonial change process is such an important part of this. So, Patricia Ann Davis, we'd love to come to you and to hear your reflections and your insights about the significance of this moment, of this now that we are in together.
Let me comment on that first, and then my formal introduction and prepared statement, because what I am teaching from oral tradition, what we call Indigenous wisdom and knowledge, is the cycles in nature. That is, it's not a linear process. The cycles in nature, and definitely the solstice, especially the spiritual pageantry, we might say, from December to the one in April, and all of the Indigenous traditions are celebrating the new moon, full moon, and of course, it's called in metaphysics, it's called Great Convocation. In other words, what I'm speaking of are the unifying principles of which Indigenous people follow in the natural order laws, because they govern all of us equally. So the full moon of June is the time following the spring equinox, and that is where we're coming to give up. We're all bound by hatred and we're bound by love equally, but we're supposed to be lifting the bars of hatred and giving that up for learning to live the loving way as a way of life. And of course, that's the holy people, or I don't always use the word Navajo because it's a colonial label. So that's the way that we have the Blessed Way ceremony called Hojoja. Hojo is the all-encompassing concept of holiness with H and wholeness with W, and then living the loving way is a way of life. So that's my general comment for that question. And certainly during question and answer and discussion, we can follow through. But I ask the audience to listen carefully to what I've said. I've selected these English words carefully over a lifetime, and to convey we all are governed by the same laws equally, and we are all existing in this beautiful Hojo. There are no competing collectivities or representing any competing ideologies. And that seems to be the goal that people are saying that they forgot or waking up to or becoming or evolving or being enlightened to. And I'm going to just go with what I know that will inspire and motivate people to understand that we cannot be outside and we cannot be separate from this natural order law. So, therefore, thank you for this invitation to create opportunities to be visible and to educate about Indigenous knowledge and wisdom from tribal oral tradition that's not published in the Western literature. Very valuable to revitalize Indigenous language and culture. We find that many solutions to healing and to the environment and to our rediscovering our spiritual self-identity to be caretakers of the earth, water, fire, and air exist in revitalizing language and culture. And I also did say gratitude and also blessings to you, Ben Bowler, and to John Raymer of Sign Network and the collaboration with the Mighty Network. It's a platform for World Unity Week, New Earth Rising, Indigenous Voices. And I define and describe and illustrate and simplify from the sacred language of what we call the Bazad. It is the holy people's sacred language and words. This is my domain, Ben and John. I had to name this recently in the English language. The Nehojo natural order law spirituality, because there's interfaith, there's interspiritual, there's secular humanitarians, and so on. There's a whole list of categories that it's not pagan, it's not animalistic, so on. It's not Western therapeutic modalities and definitive counseling. It's certainly not superstition or new age. So the Nehojo natural order law spirituality. And I am emphasizing that we're all inclusively existing in this domain collectively. And so this is the phrase, it connotates that it is the blessed way for us to live life, for living, that we are supposed to be living the loving way as a way of life, everyday way of life, because these laws govern us all equally. This is what the word indigenous means. And then we're all indigenous to the earth, water, fire, and air. So I'm speaking cross in an intergeneration and cross-cultural and a very inclusive way. I've always called that the unifying principles. This is important for me as a woman, a female. The traditional introduction is Ya'at Nolso. So my greeting is telling you that everything that's good, beautiful, and true, that's what I speak. And then this is who I am. I have the English name, and then I have a spiritual ceremonial name used only in ceremony. And then my spiritual family and all of my relatives, and also the vibration of that is interconnected and interrelated in the natural order law. It has a resonance, it has an energy, it has, most of all, it has an intention for this unity and peace and love within us and around us. Everything that I'm speaking is for good, beautiful, and true, for children, for families, for women, even for hopefully governing nations. This is valuable for governing nations because we're all born into a sacred circle of this holiness with H and wholeness with W. We're all a precious child of Creator within creation. When I say simultaneously and equally, that's very profound and very, very accurate. That is what Indigenous knowledge and wisdom is, that we're existing in this oneness. Not tomorrow, next week, we're not overcoming, we're not becoming, we're denying, and we're not identifying our true spiritual self-identity. That's why when we say Indigenous knowledge and wisdom, that's the number one key concept of our preciousness within all creation, our sacred place, our sacred self, and our sacred place in the universe. Therefore, thus, I embrace you and I befriend you with a warm heart-to-heart hug from my ceremonial fireplace to the hearth of your home. That's the symbol of spiritual family love. Let's live, let's value, let's cherish, let's perpetuate spiritual family love. And that's the primary unit, the extended family, and the humane family. And then I want to speak about the horizontal figure, which is it's the figure 8. It's number 8, but it's horizontal. So it becomes 2 circles, and it is the when it's 1 circle, it's the eternity symbol. When it's a figure 8 horizontally, and it is a symbol of the male and the female helping teamwork. And I'm going to define the male life task of life giver, the female life task of life giver and nurturer, and the male life task as a protector and provider of women and children and the home and the land and the resources of the planet and the environment and the earth and the water and fire and the air elements that is our constitution, and that there must be a reciprocal responsibility and obligation to take care of each other, take care of ourselves and take care of each other. So this universal eternity symbol of the figure 8 that is horizontal is built within each and every one of us in our whole brain thinking, right brain and left brain. It's not compartmentalized, and it's not binary, and it's not dualistic. And then we move to the heart center, and also the divine feminine, and that's also the divine masculine. And this whole brain thinking, we're identifying as Ehwelzen. That's holy thinking. It's the appropriate function of our thinking. So I identify that as conscience and moral reasoning. That's built within all of us, and I don't use the word consciousness because it produces perception, and then from perception, reality is relative to perception, and then it requires take away and replace a conversion process. And in that process, there's no more spiritual morality. Whereas conscience, we have spiritual morality because reality is exact in the natural law that governs us. Therefore, we can rally around our group consensus that we could design co-creative solutions, not only for our survival, but for basic needs, but also that we're going to thrive in abundance and plenitude. That's the language of tribal language. Speak accordingly. We don't speak in belief system. We don't speak in belief systems. We speak from the natural order law that governs us all collectively, equally. And so I'll say a phrase here for the vibrational through the mass media and the intention for mass healing. In Sahake, which is like the miracle power of our holy thinking and clear and congruent thinking for planning and decision making and restoring our resources to the next generation of youth. That's where this seventh generation concept comes in. Every generation making decisions for the next 7 generations. And another phrase here, Nanish is saying that is our work together. That's our healthy helping, and it's our teamwork. It is a miracle power of sacred miracle work. And the phrase, I'll say it again, Nanish. The ending is a affirmative statement that says, that's what it is. And it's simple. And we can say yes, making this distinction. In English, I could say sacred self-intellect. And then we need to not listen to the criminal mind because it tells us it's using our thinking for what it is not for. And so I'm a designer at the systems level change. So we're all socially conditioned at the system level. We're all socially conditioned at the individual and family, community, society level for win, lose, and nobody wins. That's destructive and death-producing decisions for those outcomes that we're witnessing today in a global crisis level. So the ceremony process, the sequencing of the indigenous ceremonial change process that I'm teaching, I was told by my own father to undo the thinking that caused so much violence and suffering. And so this is designed for a simple decision-making process that's yes and no, and the consequences thereof. There isn't anything complicated or complex about it. Just giving up the denial of oneness in this process. And so there's so much to say about my own work and describing the indigenous ceremonial process, but I want to will take care of things during the discussion and question and answer. Right here, I want to use a word that the Eastern tribes where G. Perry lives in the Eastern coastal states. They use the word in English. They use original instruction, and we're all given these original instructions. This is indigenous knowledge, and it is. First, we have information, and it might not be meaningful, connected, and then knowledge might be meaningful, connected. But wisdom is a way of life, and so it is it's discerning, recognizing the self-realization, making the decision for the greatest good for the greatest number of people. It's not any trite phrase. It's profound. It's powerful. It's beautiful, inspiring. It's life itself for all of us. And that's how our tribes speak. And so my connection with David Bohm, who was a physicist and spiritual practitioner and philosopher, I researched him in the late 70s and early 80s, and he was a person that people ignored, and the people that ridiculed him, and the people that didn't believe him. And it took so many years to recently he's finally being recognized in what he was attempting to awaken people how many years ago in this power that is we're calling it Hojo, and it's being coined as the Holo movement. Well, it's been in process and progress, and it's been existing within us and around us. And we're just now saying, oh, I get it, and grateful to all of you who are on these Zoom platforms, getting that out appropriately in the new book, which is Embracing Our Collective Purpose to Unite Humanity. This is our task. We must unite for peace with the will to love and will to good, the goodwill to befriend instead of doing the enemy create. That there is no divisions, and yet English has taken a very long time calling it theories, calling it philosophy, calling it religion, and all these terms. And yet here it is, and we are here today. I'm going to even reframe Carl Jung's term for collective unconscious and say we're in the collective conscious, not collective unconscious. That's how I'm going to end here. I have so much more to say, but I think that I got across to you that we're all born in the holy circle, in holiness and in wholeness. And so let us live accordingly and discern accordingly and plan and make decisions and go forward into our action planning and all the wonderful things that have been intended and designed for us on this 99 days of peace and all of the events throughout the whole year. Thank you, Ben Bowler, John Raymer, Sign Network, and the Mighty Network. We're all here for traveling together.
Yes, we are. Auntie Patricia Ann Davis. Just bring me back with Patricia Ann Davis for a moment, Peter. I just want to acknowledge you, Patricia Ann Davis. Your wisdom is extraordinary, and where this movement is so profoundly inspired by and draws upon the wisdom of Indigenous cultures around the world. And your incredible teaching and your education has had a profound impact on so many people in your education programs around the world in different platforms. And here in particular to Patricia Ann Davis, talk about Hojo and that entire philosophy of the Diné people in a ceremonial way. I had the privilege of having deep conversations with you around David Bohm and the Hollow movement and the connection back to Hojo. And that was such an incredible education for me. And this idea of wholeness and holiness that you bring, I know that you have had a huge impact on John Raymer and the Sign Network with your wisdom. So I just wanted to acknowledge you, Auntie Patricia Ann Davis. And we're going to come back to you a little bit later on, but thank you for everything you bring, your extraordinary clarity and distinctions. and just the crystal clear wisdom that you bring for all of us is like a fountain. It's like a stream of beauty, truth, and goodness, and the depth of the rootedness in the Hojo, in the Dene ceremonial spiritual culture is such a blessing for us to learn more. We have much more to learn from you.
So because we're all holy people, they're our primordial ancestors. We're the holy people. We're the precious child of the holy people within creation, with creator and within creation. It's Hojo. It's the same as Holo. David Bohm's implicate order.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to also bring in here Dr. Mindahi Bastida, the implicate order, someone who's had an extraordinary impact on Unity Earth over the last 7-8 years. Dr. Mindahi Bastida has been with us on this journey even before the commitment to the unification process. Is such a profound devotion from you, Mindahi, and you were with us in Australia, in the lands when we returned the ancient human remains of Mungo man to his ancestral lands. You were with us in the Rift Valley in Ethiopia, in the land of origins, when we had a Uday festival in 2018 in Lalibela on that blue moon, on that red moon. We had the ceremony of the convergence of fire, when the torch of compassion and the torch of peace and the lamp of unity came together in a sacred way. And you have been with us in the Holy Land of the living water and right across this amazing journey. Brother, it's so good to see your ongoing efforts and your tireless efforts to continue to facilitate the unification process, the human family, Mother Earth, all of life. It's such a blessing to be here with you on this solstice day, and we look forward to hearing the wisdom in your voice as we gather for this idea of a new Earth that is rising and emerging from the ancient timeless Earth. Brother, welcome.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you to the World Unity Week. And actually it's a union of time and space that we are living through. And just to remember that we are here because of our ancestors. And we are the reflection of the wholeness and the reflection of the universe in this time and space. So this is very important because oral tradition has led us to be here in this world. And it's important also because some of the original nations and people we have brought the deep understanding that we are just one in the diversity. Human family, we have relatives, but also we are the children of Mother Earth. We are the children of Father, Son. We are the children of Mother, Grandmother Moon. So these cycles that we are talking about is a dance in the universe, and we are travelers in the universe. But we are not forever here. We are here for a while, but we leave the seeds. And the seeds are energy, and we will become ancestors, and we are becoming ancestors. So this is very beautiful because our family is bigger. And this dance in the universe is the unity. And as a reflection of the universe in ourselves, our grandfathers and grandmothers, the original ones, are always guiding us, are telling us how to live in peace, in harmony, with creation, are telling us how to behave, how to see the world in a sacred way. So that's why many monuments and codices and many sacred sites are in alignment to the solstices and to the equinoxes. You see, even the most ancient sites, they are in alignment because our ancestors were aware about the cycles of life. In order to live in this way of harmony and respect and in responsibility with the cycles of life. So today we can see, for example, how the circle stones around the world. And I was just recently in Aomori, in Sendai, in Akita, in the northeast of Japan. In these circles, you can see how they were put in alignment with the solstices and equinox. And they have more than 15,000 years of the Jomon culture. But before that, we have common cosmovision because we are also in the memory, in the oral tradition, we have similar origins because we talk about the moon continent that once was shared among the ancestral culture. And we talk about the Pleiades, and we talk about one of the main stars, Venus. So I want to bring this to the attention because this is ancestral, this is millenary knowledge, and that we are just remembering our presence here in this world as human beings is the care of life. And the care of life is to be aware of the four sacred elements of life from the four directions, but also at the center of the seed, the tree of life, that unites the underworld with Father Sky. Because we are here as humans to be aware that we are not alone. We must listen to our ancestors. We must listen to the ancestral wisdom. And that we are not static. We are also producing contemporary wisdom, especially this time of turbulence, time of change, that we call the new dawn and we call the unification process. Because we are in such a critical time that we are witnessing how we have misbehaved, and that original nations and peoples, we are bringing this ancestral wisdom for sharing with the whole humanity, that we must go back to the original instruction, to the natural law, to the law of the universe, that we must live in reciprocity. Because when you take and take, you get sick if you don't share. And you have to pay back, to give back in offering. That's why rituals, ceremonies are so important to maintain the balance, to maintain harmony among us. We are nature. We say harmony with nature. It means harmony among us. But this implies responsibility. and responsibilities and respect. Now that we have seen how many species are gone and many languages, and there's a biocultural erosion, and that we are keeping as original nations and people this covenant with Father Sky. But Mother Earth is crying, Father Sky is crying because of this misalignment, this problem that we feel or we think that we are the peak of the creation. And it's a big misunderstanding. We are just another species, that we have misbehaved. But this is the time to remember that we are here for a purpose. And we are here in this unity, in this diversity, to remember the sacred covenant through the rainbow. Touching the air, touching the sky with different colors. Uniformity is not what we are looking for. It's a diversity. As I would say, if there is lack of one color in the rainbow, there is no rainbow. We are not complete. So this is the time to remember that we are here just for a while. And we are also the future, because we are not gone forever. The energy remains. And that this teaching around time and space in a circular and spiral way is how we transcend. Not just as individuals, but as families, as communities, as species. So this is very important to recall. As human beings, we must remember that we must learn from the four sacred elements, from the sacred waters, from the sacred winds, from the sacred soil and the minerals, and from the sacred energies reflected in the sun, but also through the moon, in the moon cycle. And we must remember when to plant seeds, when to look at the moon cycle. So this is the dance of harmony that we are remembering now. The solstices and equinoxes are so important because they are telling us how to live in this cycle, and we need to recover that ancestral science, ancestral knowledge. This is the time, and the time is now to be together in this beautiful way. And that's why we are celebrating the presence of original nations and people in the concept of life, harmony.
Thank you, Brother Mindahi. So beautiful reflections, so beautiful and important reflections about the heart of Indigenous wisdom and how it's informing this movement and this moment as the restoration process, the unification process. Thank you, brother, for your efforts and your tireless work. And thank you for being with us. I know you're at a very important event in Plum Village in France. Of course, the community set up by the extraordinary spiritual leader, Thich Nhat Hanh. And we're really grateful that you're making the effort to join us today, brother, and welcome.
Yes, I wanted to say that we are here in Plum Village, and it's so beautiful to know that they are opening their doors to the diversity, the spiritual diversity. And it's very beautiful. We have been sharing now during this day's ceremony. We are here with Ejna Flory, Sister Ejna Flory, and Brother Wolf Martinez, and also with Angaangaq from Africa, and Chief Bane from the Hunikui peoples from the Amazon. So this is happening, and this is beautiful. We must celebrate in this way, in the unity, in the diversity. Thank you.
So beautiful. As each tradition finds its way into becoming able to embrace the whole. And of course, Thich Nhat Hanh was a champion of that. He may have come from a Buddhist perspective, and yet he achieved a heart of unity that embraced all cultures and traditions. So wonderful to hear that you are there from that place, that sacred community, and that there is a sacred gathering there today, brother. And thank you for bringing that into our hoop here as we all work to build the hoop of many hoops. I want to bring up Chief Dwaine Perry, an extraordinary spiritual leader of the Ramapo Lenape people. We've got a big event coming up we're going to tell everyone about on Saturday at Split Rock, which is a portal of global spirituality. But Chief Perry, let me just give a little bit of an introduction for you. It's so wonderful to have you with us on this solstice. Chief Dwaine C. Perry, Chief of the Ramapo Lenape Nation, is no stranger to the front line, from helping to integrate the first barbershop in Suffern, New York in 1965 to serving in the Army as a member of a reconnaissance team. Perry is a man out front, particularly regarding human rights. Upon returning to the US after Vietnam, Perry enrolled in RCC, where he was instrumental in establishing the college first student organization. Mentoring under the Honorable Conrad Lin, Chief Perry aided in establishing an Indigenous rights group that was to become the precursor to the reformation of the Ramapo Lenape Nation, modern restructuring. Wow. In addition, Chief Perry has sat with elders and Indigenous leaders in the Himalayas, the Andes, and throughout North America, seeking and coalescing the seeds of unity and truth remaining in the colonized mind. He continues to champion human rights today, focusing primarily on issues concerning the Ramapo Lenape Nation and the Indigenous community at large. Chief Perry's recent journey to Standing Rock has resulted in the establishment of the Split Rock Sweetwater Prayer Camp there in northern New Jersey, where they have been met with much of the same tactics and animus used by those in the dark days of civil rights. Currently, Chief Perry has established the first embassy of sovereign Indigenous nations of the Western Hemisphere. The Chief has called for those whose screams have been made silent through the normalization of repression to now stand forward in unity. In addition, Chief Perry has established the Ramapo Munsey Museum, giving voice through art and antiquities to those who have remained without a voice. What an incredible legacy of standing up for those who perhaps voices are not heard. Chief Dwaine Perry, it is an honor to have you with us on this solstice day here in World Unity Week. Welcome.
Well, many thanks, Ben. And I just wanted to really thank Patricia Ann and Mindahi. I think they outlined perfectly and in abundance the spiritual path that all of us must listen to, pick up, and learn. What I thought I would perhaps share is, what can we do in a daily day to lift ourselves towards a greater spirit? What can we do in a daily moment to lift our spirits into unity? It's an extremely profound question, but the answer is quite simple and easy for each and every one of us to obtain. If we simply look at and share the thoughts of kindness, the kindness in itself is the answer to someone's prayer. It can be as simple as picking up an envelope, maybe perhaps an elder dropped, handing somebody a shopping cart, opening a door, having someone with their pet. Those very acts of kindness are literally the inherent answer in unifying acts of prayer. These are things that in our daily life we can do as we go to ceremony. We all sit, we pray, we ponder, we learn, come out, and we feel enlightened and energized, but yet we seem to still be struggling to walk forward in unity. In order for us to truly gain, and I've also heard this from our last, from Patricia and from Mindahi, to build unity, to have unity, the first thing we must do is to shed the shell of pretensive learning. What would that be? That means that what is our actual culture? Are we looking to go beyond our learned culture, our learned finances, our learned education, to be truly unified as a unified human being, sort of a spiritual center that's one that can truly be called indigenous? What can we do to start furthering that? Do we have to enter a monastery? We need to do 200 or 300 ceremonies. Do we have to do some extraordinary feat? No. We have to acknowledge, as it's already been said, that we are part of the unifying and larger whole. We are part of Unity Earth and all of the good works that Unity Earth does. We are indeed those who we prayed would come. Those who we prayed would come. That is who we are. And every time that we reach out beyond ourselves to help lift up another human being, we are helping to unify. We're helping to make one earth, one way, one beautiful way. As we walk upon this earth, we must also hold in our hearts and in our minds that spiritually, we are stewards of the earth. We are a part in a giving to all of the children of the water, to all of the children of the earth, and to all of the children of the sky. There is no one lesser, nor are we greater than any entity upon the water, the earth, or the sky. But as we walk forward, the very act when we decide to perhaps step at an ant or bother a bird or shoo a fly, those very acts in themselves pretend that we are above who we have come here to steward. So in a very short and modest way, I would ask each of us, let us just practice commonality, common decency. Let us practice the unity that we are truly one, that we are stewards of the earth. We all of our two-leggeds. If we are going to be set as an indigenous being, as an indigenous entity, then we must act like an indigenous entity. And those acts are very simple things. And in time, the profundity of thought will come upon us. So it is not something that we can continue to learn. And now is truly the time. I believe in my heart that at this moment, in this play, at this time, this is the time that we can come together and to lift up the earth and to truly look at who we are. Even today, I sat with many very beautiful people from all over the globe and prayed. And what did we pray? We prayed that we would simply be human beings, that we would simply look at each other as each other, that we could mirror each other's good, each other's intent. So I would just like to surely leave with the sort of thought of, let us be who we say, we are who we prayed would come. Let us now act as those who prayed we would come. Let us be who we are. Let us lay down the pretension of where you're from, how much money you have, what you look like. These are all artificial cloaks to prevent us from truly being a unified mankind, womankind, gender neutral, whatever we're doing. We need to look at each other as human. With that thought, in that short thought, I would send thanks to all of you who've come before and to those youths who are yet to come. As we say here in our land, where we've prayed today, where we're working to open up a larger life that is connected directly to the Pleiades at Split Rock. One of the first lessons I learned when I was reaching out to other people, what does Split Rock mean? In English, it simply means that we honor those who've come before and those who are yet to come. And as these two spiritual realms meld, we have unity. As we practice that unity, we will have unity upon this earth and peace among men. With that thought, I thank you and pray that we have shared a drop of wisdom with each of you. Nashik, Ilungumati to Anashik.
Chief Perry, thank you, thank you, thank you for that beautiful, uplifting and healing and insightful, beautiful remarks. And it's just striking me as I was hearing from you, Patricia Ann Davis, and brother Mindahi, Bastida, and Chief Perry, that the resonance of Indigenous wisdom is about unity. The message is constant. It doesn't matter whether it's Aboriginal Australians or coming from the Eskimos of Greenland or the North, or from different Indigenous people from across Turtle Island or from the South of Central America. There's always a message of unity, of wholeness, not just of the human family, but of the whole creation. This message of unity is a constant tune of Indigenous wisdom. And, if we compare that for a moment to some of the religious traditions, which tend to have a claim that we're right and you're wrong, it's just so striking that the message that we are hearing from Indigenous wisdom around the world is not that, but it's a message of inclusion. It's a message of unity. It's a message of we are in this together. Not that what we possess is superior to what you possess, but that we are all in this together. That message of inclusion is so striking. And I want to just acknowledge that this World Unity Week, as we invoke the idea of a new earth rising, which goes back to the prophet Isaiah 3,000 years ago, that we have held up the rising feminine in a plenary event. We have held up the voices of the youth leaders in a plenary event. And here today, we are holding up these extraordinary voices of Indigenous wisdom, represented by Patricia Ann Davis, Mindahi Bastida, and Chief Dwaine Perry. But this voice of inclusion, this message of unity, this song of wholeness, Patricia Ann Davis, you are a master of teaching this and educating this and inspiring this, and you are tireless in your efforts to be radically clear that Hojo is something that is for all beings. And it is the state of holiness and wholeness, which just is. It's not something we have to attain or to facilitate or to create. It is. And as we have around about 10 minutes just for closing reflections from the three of you, I wanted to come to you, Patricia Ann Davis, to have your final message on this solstice day, about this message of radical inclusion and wholeness and unity that has been your life's work and continues to be. And having heard the blessings from Brother Mindahi and from Chief Dwaine Perry, Patricia Ann Davis, we'd love to hear your reflections.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to pick up where Mindahi is reminding us that there are ancestors and there are spiritual beings who guide us and who protect us. And I was referring to that when I said, I used the metaphysical word term, the Great Convocation, which is, I learned that the creation stories of my late father's tribe, Mississippi Band of Choctaw and also Navajo, or we call ourselves Dene. the people, and all tribes do have their own tribal names for themselves, for ourselves, that specifically say that we're all the holy people. And so these guiders and protectors of humanity, that our intuition is where we connect through nature and through our thinking. So he emphasized and brought out the sympathy, symphonic voices that are resonating and have throughout all of history, so that when these spiritual times are reminding us that we are to meditate and listen, do self-reflection, self-inventory, and be listening to what this protection and guidance is given to us from those spiritual beings that we're all connected to. And so happy that we're today in this Georgia Blessed Way ceremony, we are deconstructing the enemy creation that has too long dominated this planet. So thank you to Chief Perry. Just a reminder that I've spent all night ceremony on your land. Thank you for hosting us, and Sweat Lodge on your land, and visit with you a number of times. Great and wonderful to see you. I miss coming to your part of your region there, and blessings to you, Mindahi. I see you in other zones, and grateful for your participation and knowledge from your lens and your language. We all have to do our part and ask others to do their part. It's why we have another generation. We must give the legacy of life.
Oh, thank you, Patricia and Davis. You are such a gift and such a blessing. And I think throughout these 99 days, we want to continue to bring your voice in, because you have so much wisdom to impart and so much knowledge to teach us all. Thank you so much for being with us on this sacred occasion. Brother Mindahi, thank you for stepping away from the gathering in Plum Village to share with the community here on this day of solstice. It's a joy and a pleasure and a wonderful spirit of community to be reunited with you in this way, and this conversation of the unification process, your life's mission. Share with us, brother, your closing comments today.
Yes, thank you for the beautiful sharing with Patricia. We are so related in the ancestral time, in the modern time as well. So we all come together and acknowledge the secret side, because it's how we unite, reverencing life, reverencing the sacred. Well, I also very, very happy to be sharing with Chief Perry. And when I hear Chief Perry also brings the presence of the secret side of Big Rock. And many other places around the world that we are related to. And it's who we are, because we are the river, we are the mountain, we are the sea, we are the cliff, we are the sacred plant, the sacred animal. We are the reflection of everything. So for that, I really want to give thanks, great thanks, to this dance of the universe. So life can continue, and this cycle of the solstices and equinoxes tells us how to live in the cycles of life, in peace, in excellence, in mind, in matter and spirit. So I want to give thanks for that in this Unity Week, but also the unity as a whole with capital letters. Samadi, Para, Samadi Fu. Thank you, brothers and sisters, and may you be blessed. Bless your communities, your families, and all what we are in this unity, in the World Unity Week and beyond. Samadi.
Blessings, Brother Mindahi. Thank you for that. And please give our good regards and our greetings to the people gathered there at the sacred lands in France of Plum Village and the sacred community, the holy, blessed community of Plum Village, and those who are gathered there today in unity. Please give them our greetings of peace. Chief Perry, we are preparing for Saturday, the 24th of June, when a very special event will be taking place on the lands of Split Rock, on your sacred site. This portal for global spirituality will be celebrated, and we'll have the extraordinary privilege of broadcasting from 11 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday here in World Unity Week, back here in room 1 as we prepare for that. So I know you're very busy with preparation, so we're especially grateful to you too, Dwaine, for making the time to be with us in the heart here in the solstice. So final comments, Chief Perry, for you today. Voices of Indigenous wisdom as we prepare for a transition of our planetary culture.
Thank you. I'd simply like to begin with where I sort of began earlier, was to say it to thank Patricia and Mindahi, because in truth, they have outlined the essentials of the wisdom and the unity that we have sprung from and from where we will go. And I would just, as we're going forth, I would like to invite everybody to join us on the 24th. Essentially, what is going on? The mountain our sacred mountain has been returned. The temple has been returned to the people, which is beyond miraculous in its own self. As we are in metropolitan New York, and we're in a place where what people call land has more value than humanity. So we've truly been blessed to have it back, and we are celebrating that. But beyond that, we have learned a short story, if I may. We were meeting, and some folks came into our meeting. Keep in mind, we're in New York. They had on their traditional garb, and they were talking about the sacredness of the mountain, which we had just gotten returned, and what needs to happen. And they were talking in terms of portals and the connectivity and the unity upon the earth. And my first thought as a cynical New Yorker was, they don't think I'm Harry Potter, do they? And as I listened to that in my New York cynical self, our relatives spoke of some things that I am more than confident that maybe less than 2% of the Ramapo Muncie people understood about that very mountain. It was a wake-up call of unity that their elders sent them here to tell us, now is the time. Now is the time to go forward, to unify all that we may, to lift up all that we may, to strengthen and open up the portals that all may live in unity. There are 7 portals in the world. We have been blessed to have one right here close to New York. We know that it's connected to some in South America, some in Australia, New Zealand, some in right here in North America, South America, and Africa. So now is the time. Now is more than the time that we come together and unify with each single breath and each act that we do. I would like to send out love and respect to today. Just thinking about all of the people they've lifted up all of their lives, all of my life in unity. I am so overwhelmed to think that, yes, now is the time. Now is the time, and how we can lift this time is by kindness. Understand that each kindness is a forward step in unity to the world, to the universe, to love and understanding. So just let me leave with the thought that kindness is the answer to each and every prayer. And thanks to many of you and all here, my prayers are being answered too. I thank you. Nishi, 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 Ilingu Mati. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Chief Perry. Many prayers are being answered in this time. And you have answered our prayers today by being with us present. Kindness is the answer to somebody's prayer. What a beautiful teaching, wisdom of the Indigenous voices. Thank you. We cannot thank you and honor you enough, and your communities and the Indigenous, the original people around Mother Earth. We're honored today, this Solstice Day. It is Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada. We honor that. We stand with our brothers and sisters. It is World Peace and Prayer Day, convened by Chief Arvel Looking Horse celebration. We've been carrying the preparations over the last 2 days, and today is the day of prayer around the world. So what a blessed moment. In love and joy and gratitude, we thank you, Patricia Ann Davis.
I saw him. I saw Chief Arvel Looking Horse in Reading, or
Yes.
in the ceremonial place of the Winnemem went to.
Yes, you saw the broadcast through World Unity Week these last days.
No, I saw him in person.
Oh, in person, yeah.
At a ceremonial gathering.
Interesting. He's back in Reading. That's where they are now. They're doing it. It's not too far from Mount Shasta.
Yeah, I saw him Friday, and
yeah,
it was a surprise.
Well, we are all connected in unity, and the time has come, Brother Mindahi, the unification process that so many have been working and weaving towards has reached a critical moment of transition and transformation, and we can feel it. You know, some of us may call it the New Earth Rising. Others may have other terminology for the same thing, but it is the same thing. And with love and gratitude, we thank you for being with us, and we send our blessings to all the people there, to your family, and thank you, brother. Onwards we go. Onwards we go. And Chief Perry, we're days away from a special event that will help to close World Unity Week on Saturday, June 24th, from the sacred lands of the Ramapo Lenape, from Split Rock, as a portal for global spirituality. And we have been there on your lands. We've been there in prayer and on your sacred land. So we give thanks, and we send out our love and our blessing and our compassion that you have generated in this space, and we spread it around the whole world today on this Solstice Day. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for staying with us, and thank you for your teaching and your wisdom.
Thank you.